Hello and welcome to the Romance Track here at Continual. I'm your host, Gail Martin, and tonight we are talking about sci-fi and alien romance. What happens when the person you fall in love with isn't from the same world, and how does this happen? Well, we're going to dive into that, but first let's let all of our wonderful panelists introduce themselves, starting with Cayce.
Alrighty, guys. Hi, my name is Cayce LaCorte. I am a writer and publishing professional, but for this panel, in this capacity, I am an avid romance reader. Everything from cozy romances to erotica, alien, I read all of it. So big fan.
Okay, Gini.
I'm Gini Koch. I write the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series for dog books. I also write under a variety of other pen names and in all lengths and genres, but this is my main series, and what I'm known for is absolutely science fiction with a lot of action, romance, and humor.
Okay, Christie.
Okay, my name is Christie Meierz. I am the first self-published author to win a Prism Award from the Fantasy, Futuristic, and Paranormal chapter of the Romance Writers of America. I write space opera romance set 500 years in the future, and most of the aliens I write about, the Talari, are actually genetically modified humans who are, one, empaths, and two, poisonous to various degrees to unmodified humans. In my novels so far, I've explored the empathy part of that equation. In my upcoming novel, which is releasing next month, I have a human finding out the hard way that the man he loves is particularly poisonous.
Ooh, that sounds difficult. Melody.
Hello, I'm Melody Johnson. I write paranormal and sci-fi romance. My paranormal series is vampires in New York City with a murder mystery element. And my sci-fi novels, sci-fi romance, are my Love Beyond series. Beyond the Next Star is an alien abduction series in which the main character, the heroine, is mistaken for a pet, and her owner is her hero. And book 2 in that series, Sight Beyond the Sun, releases in January.
Very good. Melissa.
Hello, I'm Melissa E. Costa. I write mostly LGBT fiction. Most of it is paranormal, but I did do a sci-fi that involved aliens, so I thought I would join the panel for some fun. And yeah, that's pretty much me.
Okay, Tori.
Hi, I have 2 pen names, Victoria Sue, that I've been writing for 7 years, that is romance, mainly paranormal and fantasy. And last year I started a new pen name, Tori Kellett, and that's male, female, and it's alien romance. And I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, but I know everybody else will understand this. I fell in love with a pre-made book cover from a designer, and I'd been thinking about, doing some alien romance anyway. And when I saw that and I bought all 4 books, The Warriors of Ishtar was born. And that's how I got into writing alien romance, because I fell in love with the book covers and I had to have them. And I'm sure everybody here, is sitting here understands how that happens, because when you think about writing a book, you might hear a phrase or you see a picture, and then all of a sudden most of the story is in your head. That's how the whole writing alien romance and the different pen name and everything started. So yeah, I'm crazy, but that's what happened. So
Hey, I buy covers like some girls buy shoes, so I understand what you're saying. I'm Gail Martin and Morgan Brice. As Gail, I write epic and urban fantasy. As Morgan, I write urban fantasy, male paranormal romance. And I have not yet written a sci-fi or alien romance, so I can't wait to hear what everybody has to say tonight. And let's start with, there are so many ways for people to find love. What is it about sci-fi, about falling in love with an alien that, a real, green skin flying saucer kind of alien that, or maybe tentacles, depending on what you like, that made you go, ooh, I want to write this, or read it. Cayce?
I think it started with Ice Planet Barbarians with Miss Ruby Dixon. Her series started it for me, and I did it for TikTok as a joke. Like, I'm going to read this and I'll get back to you guys. Ha ha. I got like 7 books in like 4 days, and I was completely hooked. And I've said this before on one of our previous panels about monster romances. The joke I tell people is anything but a human man is fine. I think it's because you can make them whatever you want. There's not the societal constraints. There's no preconceived notions. They can be tall, they can be blue, they can act a certain way, and you're not kind of pigeonholed. And everybody can kind of see them as writers. A humanoid figure is a humanoid figure. We can see that, we can visualize that, and we can all kind of take away what we like from it. But I think it just opens the why Fae? Because we can do what we want with them. They can be whatever we want. We don't have that the societal notions of masculinity or of whatever that's already in place. So that's why I enjoy it.
So if you're going to suspend belief, let's just suspend it all the way. Okay.
All in.
Gini?
My main aliens look like supermodels, so I got nothing on the tentacles and green man. Mine are gorgeous, and because it's my world and I can make it how I want. And they have double hearts, they have hyperspeed, faster regeneration. They have a lot of teletalents, empathy, imagery, where you can touch a picture and know everything about that person up to that point. Troubadours, where they can affect how you think and feel and act based on their inflection. And obviously those people end up politicians or actors in a lot of cases. But I just, the book the series basically wrote itself, especially Touched by an Alien. And so everything that Kitty, my heroine, discovers, I discovered as I was writing it. I did not have any I want an alien to do this, that, or the other. The characters just told me what they were. Now that I'm working on book 17, which I'm hiding because it's not done yet, the world has expanded dramatically. We're in a multiverse. We're going all over the galaxy, and therefore we're meeting people in different races in complete different genus. But kind of one of the running jokes is that humans will mate with anything. So, hey, are you a walking dog, cat, or lizard? There's a guy or girl on Earth waiting for you. So I have fun with it that way as well.
Okay. Christie?
I really don't know how to follow that one. My aliens, my Talari, are, because they're actually genetically modified humans. They don't. I get around the whole I can shape their culture any way I want, because they have been separated from us for 6,000 years. They were kidnapped as children by aliens and taken 24 light years away to Beta Hydri 4 and given all their technology and then left there to develop on their own. So I can do pretty much whatever I want without any of the human history preconceptions creeping in if I don't want them to.
Okay. Melody?
I think that aliens and the whole sci-fi romance genre really helps to up the ante on certain tropes. So if you, opposites attract, everyone loves opposites attract, but now you've got, not only could it possibly be like two different, you're from two different places, now all of a sudden you up the ante to two different worlds. So it takes fun tropes that you might enjoy on one level, and then it turns it into like an intergalactic level. So, and all the small problems, like maybe you might have if you have a love interest who comes from a different culture and maybe speaks a different dialect, and you have miscommunications here and there. Now all of a sudden you have maybe your alien, your love doesn't even have vocal cords. So it really ups the ante on creativeness, how to fall in love with someone who maybe either doesn't speak your language, who doesn't even speak. And so it for me, it really, you have the opportunity to hone in on the inner person, the inner humanity, even though they're not humans, of what really attracts two souls and brings them together, and then up that ante.
Okay. Tori.
Fated mates, insta love, whether it's werewolves, humans, aliens, whether they're 7 foot tall and blue and they've got tentacles and horns, it doesn't matter. That's what appeals to readers, and that's what I write. Whichever pairing, I'm in kind of book 80, whatever now. It's the soulmate. That's the thing. It's that there is one person in your world or another world that's right for you and that will love you no matter what.
Okay. Melissa.
Okay, so I've only written one alien book, and I got inspired because I was watching years and years ago. Remember that TV show Roswell? And I remember when they went back into the aliens' past, I was kind of disappointed at just finding out how human they sounded. It was basically like, this is planet Earth, but in another galaxy. And I thought, you know what, no, if I'm going to do an alien thing, I want to make it completely opposite from people. And I don't want it to be like, this is basically just Earth, too. And so I made a MMF, and because I like writing LGBT, and I also wanted to have, a poly situation going on there. And I set out to make this alien world as different as we could possibly be. So they start out almost like more like fish, where they're hatching out of eggs and they're trying to survive and find each other. And they have to run from predators. And at some point they have to get together so they can become a full adult, which basically means their bodies merge together in all sorts of weird ways. I had lots of fun with it. But when I was writing it, I also noted that there was a human element, just because, I am human, and there's something about sort of like the universal traits of humanity. So there still was that there. So I didn't strip humanity completely out of it, but I liked the fact that I could make it, almost animalistic in a lot of ways. So I had a lot of fun with it. Now in this particular series, I haven't written book 2 yet. Book 2, I probably will bring the aliens around humans and see how they interact. But in this particular book, it was just, an alien world, aliens with aliens. So I can't answer the question on how they, met with humans and all that, because I haven't done that yet. Not in this story.
So human couples have enough difficulties when they come from maybe slightly different backgrounds, experiences, or cultures, just on one planet. How do your lovers overcome all of the barriers of coming from an entirely different world, history, language, biology? And that's a whole lot to throw at somebody. So how do they do it? How does love conquer all? Cayce?
Okay, so some of my favorite, like we were talking about tropes a second ago, some of my favorite tropes are the touch her and die. Like, the who hurt you. I love those. Big fan. But so that made me think about this, because there's universal communications, and I literally mean like universal. I feel like they have to have some way to communicate, even if they don't speak the same language. They have to have some way to exist in the same space, breathe the same air or some version of that, so you have to, as a writer, I think that's kind of your trick, is being able to make them so different, but also you can't completely suspend belief, you have to they have to make it work somehow. But I think that's also part of the draw, is it's not the normal, it's not the cookie cutter, it's always a little more complex. It always kind of makes you like, oh man, how are they gonna do that? How's that gonna work? So as a reader, it actually makes it more complex and more enjoyable.
Okay. Gini.
Well, one of the basic tenets of the series is that Kitty looks at everybody as a person, whether they are a, sentient horse or a Cthulhu monster looking thing, or just the hottest aliens on, the hottest things on two legs. Everybody's a person in her mind. And so she's dealing with everybody in that way. But in terms of the obstacles, well, one, there's a different internal structure with the ACs, and because they're from Alpha Centauri, and there's actually, as the onion unfolds through the series, you find out why they're called ACs, and it's not just because they're from Alpha Centauri. But not only is there, they've got double hearts, and she does not, but they don't have skin color or sexuality hangups, but they have a super big religious hangup. And so they have to overcome that. And then she has to deal with, her future, spoiler alert, book 17 is coming out, her future mother-in-law, and deal with all of that and the expectations from Jeff's family that she won't be able to handle their children because their children will be internally like the rest of the aliens, and she's just a human. So there's a lot of that going on, and the other tension. And then as the books go on, pretty much Kitty's proved that you can roll with it. So again, humans will mate with anything. So I have different human characters mating up with different aliens as we go along. Because they can, and some of them it's a little more daring, and some of them are not. But mostly they're still having to overcome everything that people do. And mostly because my viewpoint is I'm writing for humans. So I want to keep things that are very relatably human. The situations are very out of the world and very dangerous and everything else, but the bottom line motivations are still motivations that motivate humans, and sadly for us, motivate everybody else in the rest of the galaxy. So there's a lot of megalomaniacs out there, unfortunately.
Okay.
Or fortunately for me.
Yeah. Christie.
Well, the extra layer that I add is the fact that my genetically modified humans are empaths, and shenanigans can really ensue when you throw unsuspecting humans together with these people who know exactly what they're feeling, and you can't hide anything from them. But when they fall in love, you can't hide that either. And one of the things I'm dealing with in the book that is releasing in January is the fact that the human involved in the relationship has been trying not to be in love with the other guy for 7 years. And the other guy knows it because he's an empath, but they're very respectful of other people's emotional boundaries. So he doesn't press, he just does what Talari do to let each other know that they care about each other, is just spend a lot of time with each other. And the human doesn't get it. So.
Okay. Melody.
So in order to bridge the gap between universes to find love, for me, is really about their history and their past. So and finding connection there. So my heroine, she's abducted by aliens, mistaken as a pet, classified as a pet, and sold on the pet market, and bought by her alien hero because he has PTSD and he needs an animal companion to help him. And so for me, it was really important for me from the very beginning that they wouldn't get it on until he knew that she was a person, and they bridged that gap. So I had to hopefully very carefully go from, loving pet owner, scared pet, to the big reveal. But by then they had built, pet owner trust. so they could be friends by then, have all those juicy, delicious secrets of who, what, when, and where, of how, you know, her abduction went down. And so then finally, by the time she meets him halfway, realizing, oh, you have PTSD, oh, you needed me, you didn't know I was a pet. And then him coming halfway, realizing, oh, you're a thinking being, you're the same intelligence as me, if not more, that they can then come together as equals and one. And so to bridge that gap, especially for that particular couple, was all about getting to know one another, which at the heart of it really is a human on human romance anyway. So
Okay, Tori.
I think my whole series is definitely not about bridging gaps. It's kind of the opposite, really. These alpha, if I use the word alpha, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what I mean. Aliens who are used to the females being the little pretty, stick them on the shelf and buy them nice clothes and they will agree to everything. And, you know, like Earth was however many hundreds of years ago. And popular trope that their females are dying and they need to get someone that has different biology. And so this is what's happened with the abducting the Earth women, except they don't really get what they're expecting. The first woman, Cayce, is, well, I mean, they all are. They're definitely in charge. They've got one of the women is a pilot in the Air Force. And they are really kind of like, you ain't telling me what to do, I'm going to take over, and if you think you're putting me on a shelf, you're very much mistaken. And that's the whole fun thing about it, that these great big alpha 7 foot tall dudes get these women that they think they're going to be, you know, perfect, and they're going to have all these babies for them, all that. And it doesn't quite happen quite like that.
Okay.
But that's what I like. I like kind of turning it around and stuff, especially with the first book, because the whole point in the series that their race is dying. And the first woman that the future king decides is his soulmate, she, because of various biological surgeries and things like that, she can't actually have children. So the whole reason that she's there, and he wants her to be his queen, and that because she can't, you know, to give him children, is the whole thrust of the story. And then he finds out she can't, but he falls in love with her anyway.
Okay.
And I really like that. It's like the whole thing of the series is you've got to populate this planet, but he falls in love with Cayce, who can't give him kids, and it doesn't matter.
Okay. Melissa.
Okay, so for me, again, these aren't aliens and humans interacting, so these are just aliens. And they start out, these are creatures kind of driven by instinct, and their whole point is to meet together in threes because of their alien race. There are 3 types of them. But the drama sort of comes in when, you know, one of the 3 sort of goes his own way. And instead of seeking out his own designated pod, he wants absolutely nothing to do with any of that. He just wants to be on his own, and he ends up getting in trouble. He ends up getting caught by predators. And so it just so happens that our 2 main heroes happen to have lost their third. So the drama becomes, you know, Naden, it's Naden, Aluma, and Sage. Sage is the one who doesn't really belong in this pod because he didn't find his actual pod. He just wanted to be on his own, but it didn't quite work out. And the drama is, well, you know, can the three of them work together? And there's a whole bunch of betrayal going on here, because Naden and Said actually met before they even told Aluma, and it was, so there's a lot really that kind of goes under the hood there. But I think in terms of their own conflict, it's basically instinct versus personal choice, right? And how they make that work together. So, and like I said, in book 2, they're probably going to go to their alien world, which might be our world, depending on which place I decide to take it. And then there would be conflict between there, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to come back to something that we've touched on, but explore it a little deeper. And that is, if you're writing about creatures that are not from this world, not sharing this background or history or any of the cultural aspects that are kind of touchstones, how do you make them relatable to very human readers? How do you keep them alien, but not too alien so that the reader doesn't have some way to connect? Cayce?
So one of the ways I've seen that I enjoy is we have to give them some sense of humanity in order, because we are writing for humans. Like she said, we're writing for humans. I'm a human reader. You can make the characters as different as you want, visually, emotionally, and different things like that. But they have to be some kind of relatable drive that we can relate to, that we can be, they're looking for love. They're trying to populate their planet. They're trying survival. Like these are all things we consider, but, even in the animal kingdom, survival and community and things like that still exist. So I think there's kind of these universal themes, but you are writing for people. So you have to include, and it is romance. So there's gotta be, either, physical or emotional or some kind of need being met. But I've read some really, really good books where you're like, I don't know what's happening here, and I don't know where this is going. And then just out of nowhere, you're crying and you're like, oh my God, I love him so much, and it's like this tentacle alien, but he's like a puppy, and oh my God, he loves her so much. It's taking the juxtaposition of something that's so foreign, but giving it something that is familiar that makes it work.
Okay. Gini? You're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay.
My main aliens have been hiding on Earth since the 1960s. So many of them were born on Earth, and they therefore they have all of the alien politics that's coming through. They're trying to survive and protect Earth. So there's a lot of Earth needs and caring, and what matters to Earthlings kind of matters to them, because Earth is their only home. They can't go back. And so there's a lot of that. But then just throughout, I literally just go with everybody's got the same motivations, regardless of what they look like externally. They all have, food, fight, procreation, and moving on, exploration, caring, megalomania. I want to rule the world. I want to rule every world. I want to rule the galaxy. Crazy, destructive. If I can't have the galaxy, no one can have it. Kind of stuff. So realistically, it's really an action adventure series that has strong romantic subplots. And so my characters care more about saving the day than they do about getting it on, except for Kitty, who really cares about getting it on with Jeff. She really, really does. That's like one of her driving things, because the double hearts mean that they're ready to go at like anytime, all the time. Oh, did we just finish? We can go again. So it makes her very happy in that way. She's always very bitter if they can't be doing the deed multiple times per day. So that kind of keeps it fun for me, with her complaining because they're having to save the world instead of getting to have sex.
Okay. Christie?
Well, my aliens are not really aliens, so they're actually, they're genetically modified, but they're basically human. And so I'm working with the same motivations and internal architecture that normal humans have, except that they can sense what other people feel. I think the question is a lot about world building. What you asked is, it's really how you, I mean, at least for me, because my aliens aren't really alien, it's mostly a matter of world building and coming up with a culture that is plausible. And I think it's relatable because they are at base human, and I'm drawing from what I know of human culture plus a little.
Okay. Melody.
So I feel for my books that even though they're from different worlds, different planets, they have different politics, different cultures, they still have politics, they still have cultures. And so the differences, even though they're different, at the root of it, they're still almost the same in terms of what they have. So, and that's the fun thing for me to play with during that world building is, what is their culture? What about the ecosystem or temperature of their planet would affect their culture? Why would an entire planet base their culture on exotic pets? And then being able to build the characters based, having plopped them into those circumstances. And one of my things I had a lot of fun with my newest book, Sight Beyond the Sun, which comes out in January, is actually I gave them the same occupation. They're both in the military, and they're both basically spies. One, on Earth, it's a CIA agent, but on his planet, it's something else. And so even though they're the same occupation, they've come from different worlds, they have different objectives, and how that has shaped them as people. So have a lot of fun with the play of the differences and how actually differences can be similarities.
Okay, Tori.
It's not about what they are or who they are, it's about how they feel. Love, hate, jealousy, protectiveness, fear, desire, insecurity. That's how I build books. It doesn't matter whether it's a 7-foot alien, a werewolf shifter, or the guy next door. It's all the same.
Very good. Melissa.
I've thought about this one a lot when I was trying to write this book, because again, I really wanted to have a very alien world. I really wanted to have a very alien, like alien bodies, alien atmosphere, alien thought process, like, even politics and all. I was like, I don't want anyone to mirror our culture. But at the end of the day, I figured, like, what grabs you into a story is having relatable characters. So there is a level where if you make them too alien, then no one can really follow that. And I think where I hung on to was their emotions, like for Satan's need for freedom, and for Nathan's need to protect, and or jealousy even was in there, or a sense of survival, a sense of and then once, because the book continues once they become a full adult and they go and they meet, the parentals, which are of the main pod, but Sade is not from that pod. So there's a certain level of alien, like he feels like an outsider. So it's like kind of like finding your place and sort of figuring out who you are in a way that was kind of there. It was obviously, I thought about this one, but I would need like 3 or 4 drafts to get out my thoughts correctly here. I'm not a public speaker, I'm a writer. So speaking on the fly is not really my strong suit. But I will say that I feel like the idea, the concept behind having a certain amount of humanity, even to alien characters, is really essential, even for sci-fi. Or in sci-fi, I think that's what really grabs people, is the ability to be able to relate to characters. That's
Okay.
what's going to make your readers remember your story.
Well, folks, we have blown through our time, and it's been a great conversation. But before we end, I want to give everybody a chance to let everyone who's watching know where to find you online. And if you have a new, recent, or upcoming book, please let us know. Starting with Cayce.
All right. So once again, I'm Cayce LaCorte. You can find me at TikTok. That's where I live. It is at book_mama. Yeah, so I hope to see you all there, and definitely send me any book recommendations.
Okay, Melody.
Hi, Melody Johnson. You can find me online at authormelodyjohnson.com. And on there, you can see my books, the signings I'll be at, different social media pages that you can follow me on. My newest book will be coming out on January 24th, and it's called Sight Beyond the Sun.
Very good. Christie.
You can find me at christiemeyers.com. It has links to my social media from there, but I'm also usually on Facebook. I have a new novel coming out on January 5th called Rembrandt's Station. And in preparation, that is the second book of the current series. The first book is free right now for the downloading, not the print copy, but the ebook is free right now at all the usual suspects.
Okay, Tori.
You can mainly find me on Facebook, especially Alien Territory, which is my group. I'm on, I've got a website, Tori Kellett Aliens. I have a book coming out that I'm part of an anthology called Fated Mates, and that is next week. Book 6 in my Warriors of Ishtan series is coming out at the end of January. But basically, you can find me on Facebook, and if you look up my name on Google or wherever, you can find me easily, and Amazon.
Okay, Melissa.
Hi, you can find me on my website at melissaecosta.com, or you can go and find me on Facebook, author Melissa E. Costa. I'm also on Instagram. I have two Instagrams that long story. But also, if you want to find a complete list, you can go to my LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, Melissa E. Costa is a good one. As far as books coming out, my Feral Hearts series, book 2 is coming out. I don't have an actual date for that one yet. Some issues here and there, but hopefully within the coming new year, I will have more information available on that one. So
okay, Gini. Thank you.
GiniKoch.com. I'm on Facebook far too much. Gini Koch, author, Hairspray and Rock and Roll, and author of the Alien Catherine Kitty Cat series. Those are all my pages. You can sign up for my newsletter. Hook me up via Hairspray and Rock and Roll. I'm also on Twitter, and I'm also on Pinterest. It looks like on Insta, but I'm really not. And my most recent release, Unidentified Funny Objects 9, that anthology just released, and my story Sergeant Yeti is in that. And for those waiting patiently, yes, I swear, Aliens Like Us is version 5 is almost done and going to my editor. So yay.
Yay. And I'm pretty easy to find at gailmartin.com, morganbrice.com. All of the social media are a variation of the name, so if you spell them right, you'll find me. But most of the time, you can find me here on Continual. So thank you all so much for being with us tonight. And thanks to all of you for watching and listening. There will be more romance coming up on Continual, so we'll see you online.